It's time for Dart Talk. Brought to you by thedartzone.com. Stay in the zone. Thedartzone.com is an official Cosmo distributor and Windy City Fabricators, America's premier fabricators of orthotics and prosthetics. And Redwood Darts, America's newest tungsten darts. Stand straight and tall and hit them all. Redwood Darts. And now, here are your hosts, Mystery Mark and Steve P.
All right, welcome to Dart Talk.
Welcome.
We're on time.
Yeah.
How'd
shocking.
that happen? Dart
I
Talk.
have no idea.
Dart Talk brought to you by the Dart Zone.
Stay in the zone.
TheDartZone.com is an official Cosmo distributor. Also, many thanks, Windy City Fabricators, Redwood Darts. We have in-studio guests.
Fantastic.
Again.
Yes.
See, we're
happening. We're growing. We're getting popular.
Duck your head in here.
We
got a treat
popular
for you.
with the masses.
We have Sam the Intern. So anything that goes wrong in the show today, we blame on Sam the Intern.
Yes.
That's why you get interns. So you can say hi.
Hi.
Okay. Now don't talk anymore. How you
Still
doing?
talking too.
How you doing?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
So no darts last week.
No. I blew it in the playoffs. We already talked about that. Well, you got to keep rubbing this in, man. What's up with that?
Well, because I actually asked somebody, one of your teammates I ran into, and I was like, so Mark said he threw horrible. And the guy's like, oh, no, it was worse than that.
I can't explain
Apparently
how bad
you
it
were
is.
whipping them into the wall. Apparently you played so poorly that everyone was astounded. I've never seen the guy play that bad. That's all I heard.
Is that not how I described it?
Hey, man, go out flaming. That's what I say. If you're going to go down in flames.
I maybe I didn't describe it as poorly as it was, but I tried to explain it like I was.
Well, you're modest. So usually when you
embarrassed.
say that you played bad, I figure, okay, yeah, you didn't play as well as normal. But no, you really exceeded expectations as far as miserable performance. So congrats.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Thanks. All
right, let's disclaim any and all things right away.
Nugget back up.
Yeah, you're welcome. Oh, volume would help. Oh, dear.
The views, opinion.
Oh, let's try that
You
again.
give me flack for this.
Telling you.
The
I can't
views,
believe we're even on
opinions,
time.
rants, and rampages expressed on Dart Talk do not necessarily reflect individually or collectively those of our sponsors, co-sponsors, wannabe hosts, hearing-impaired critics, or those with a penchant for attitudinal dysfunction. We at Dart Talk strive to provide you, the listener, with an educational, entertaining, and fun-filled experience each and every week. If after the show you, the listener, find yourself feeling uneducated, unentertained, and or bored, we at Dart Talk consider that your own problem.
And so be it. Okay, so on the show, here's what I did. I actually went on one of these big Facebook groups with like 3,000 people, and I'm like, hey,
Right.
what do you guys give me suggestions, and I will pick one topic from the discussion group, and we'll, spend some time on the show with it. And boy,
How'd
did
that
we
work
get,
out?
well, we got a lot of interesting suggestions, and some of them are like terribly involved. Some of them I'm going to actually have to research and stuff. One guy wanted to talk about race in darts, and I was like, really? What about it? Right? Okay, so that was an issue. People want to talk about alcohol, which I think, we should probably relocate the show for that one. No, I think that's worthy.
Yeah, it's worthy.
I mean, we've discussed it here and there, but we've never really delved in depth. I wanted to talk about the throwing like a girl this show.
Okay.
And so I figured what we needed to do was get a woman on and get a woman's perspective, because we were talking about, maybe we should get rid of women's events altogether and have everybody throw together and la-di-da-di-da.
Do people think that way when it comes to women playing darts, that they actually throw differently than men? I've never seen that. I mean, do they throw? Obviously, we've talked about it. I mean, you can tell from a baseball standpoint, football standpoint, but I've never seen like a woman necessarily throw different, because everybody technically throws different in darts, right?
Yeah, I mean it's a very individualistic. I mean, it isn't like the cookie cutter golf swings you see on tour.
Absolutely.
I mean, there's a lot of with some people it seems almost like self-expression. Like there are people that actually have bad technique, but insist on doing it because they like to do it that way. And it's like, okay,
even
well,
in golf, the women swing different.
Well, to be honest with you, the women golfers I see, I don't see too many Jim Furyk's out there. I mean, I see a lot of
the South Koreans and stuff. They swing really slow, but they emphasize certain things where it's not like a free flowing swing like the normal cookie cutter men's golf swing.
It looks a little more mechanical.
Yeah.
And
so
it's funny you say that. Yeah.
From a women's dart standpoint, I don't necessarily see like a mechanical difference where it's like women like. You would say she throws darts like a girl, where you could definitely say that in baseball or football.
Yeah, it's strange. I mean, it was more to it than that. I mean, we were touching on a subject that was like, women are always feeling slighted by the guys in this sport. And I've always maintained that what they need to do is get respect, and the way to get respect is to play. And I'm like, well, maybe they should be playing in men's events. Mm-hmm. They'd get more respect, and they'd get it a lot quicker. Because you don't see the women playing the women, and everybody's like, oh, my God, it's a women's match. I don't want to chalk. I mean, stuff like that. I mean, you get that all the time on the road at tournaments and stuff, and there's one way to fix that. Plus, I would think it would raise the level of the women's game. I mean, you have to play better players to improve. If the women just play each other, I mean, I don't know how much they're going to improve. We talked about,
it would cut off about at least 50% of the women that aren't going to play anymore.
Well, that was a question that I had. I'm not really sure what that. I think the vast majority of people, their gut reaction to that would be like, well, the women aren't going to play, right? Well, there's plenty of guys that don't play events because they figure that they can't win either.
Right.
So what's your solution? The guys don't have a division for the people that don't. There's not a division of people that think they're going to win and people that don't think they're going to win. We don't have separate divisions for those guys.
Chance division.
So, but then the women have their own division, right? So, I mean, it's kind of like a weird segregation, and I don't know how it evolved, but we're guys. So we're going to get Callie West on the show next week. She couldn't make it tonight, and she is really all over this. She's taking notes. She's getting prepared. This is a big issue to the women. The women are. You should see the emails I got. So we were supposed to do that this week, but because we couldn't get Callie, I want to talk about youth darts instead. That was one of the suggestions that we're going to take out of the Facebook discussion group. Youth darts, I don't really know that much about. So we have Sam the Intern. He's going to help interview. We have a youth darter, Stephen Wilcox from Canada, is going to come on in a little bit. And I don't know anything about youth darts. How am I going to interview this guy? I forgot what it's like to be in high school. Well, we have Sam the Intern, who already screwed up the disclaimer. So he's doing good so far.
Yeah. It's not an easy job.
I'm telling everybody thinks this. Everybody thinks you just like turn on the camera and la-di-da-di-da, you got a show and everything.
It's not an easy thing to do.
So we're gonna get Stephen Wilcox on the show and talk some youth darts. He had a successful tournament in Stamford a couple of weekends ago. If you guys look at the crawl, we updated the rankings for the NDFC. We have the current North American rankings, and I think we got some other stuff in there. We got the Darts Live results, Creature feature, Boris, give me a vowel, please.
Yeah.
Right. Boris Kretschmar won the Stage 3 in China over the weekend against Singing in the Rain.
Oh, okay.
So he's played two of them. He played the one in France, he played the one in China, and he's got 2 second places, and he's ranked 4th in the soft tip world championship standings after 3 stages. Those are also in the crawl. For you guys, see good timing.
He's ranked 4th with 2 second place finishes, or I mean,
because the guy who won 2 is ahead of him, and then people that have been to all 3 because he missed one might have more points. It's kind of one of the chasing points all over the world, man. But he's doing good, and also okay. So we're gonna talk to Stephen Wilcox. We're going to preview the PDC Challenge this weekend. See who's going to go to the World Championship. Which I looked at the list. they're happy with the number of players. I'm unhappy with the number of Americans going to. I mean, Kingston, Ontario is not that. It's not like going to Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan. You know, I mean, it's an accessible place. It's an hour from London, Ontario, and you only got like 15 Americans going. That just really irks me. And of course, I'm not going. Right. So who am I to say?
So you're doubly irked.
Well, at least I was having physical problems. Those apparently are gone.
Okay. Did you quit playing your game? Is that what happened?
Well, I'll tell you. How much time do we got? Where are we on time?
We got 5 minutes.
Okay. I officially moved 2 days ago. Right?
To where?
Well, I'll tell you. I was in Nashville, and, I was playing doubles with Ralph McCool, Too Cool McCool. And we're warming up on Friday, and he's like, what are you doing? I'm like, well, what do you mean? He's like, well, why are you standing so far over to the left? And he hasn't seen me play since Huntsville. And I'm like, isn't this where I always stand? He's like, no. I don't know. I don't know what happened. I have been sliding over to the left and over to the left and over to the left to the point now where people that haven't seen me throw in a while are like, what are you doing? So I officially moved.
Okay.
I officially moved back to where I think I used to be
Which
before.
is basically center.
And managed
Right?
to get.
Weren't you close to center?
Yeah, close to center. Yeah. Oh. So you could have told me like 3 months ago and you didn't do it. Okay, that's just
No,
great.
I haven't played darts with you. I just saw you pick up my darts and I threw like crap the next
Well,
day.
this is interesting, and okay, we'll take a break after this, but people may like this because, this is the problem I have when I have downtime is I tinker, right? I try this. I was trying different grips for a while. So I go out to play. Actually, I went out to see a friend of mine who moved back from California who's a pretty good dart player. And he's like, oh, I didn't bring my darts. And I'm like, okay, fine. So I didn't bring mine. So I ended up playing with, like, the big, thick brass bar darts. And then I changed my stance, and I was, like, just kind of whipping darts in there. And the next day, when I went to my board at home and I decided to move and get centered again, and use my darts and my normal stance and everything, 45 minutes couldn't miss. Just could not miss. It's scary when you can't miss because it's like, what am I doing?
I wouldn't know.
What? Well, at least not lately. So that was encouraging. So I'm practicing again.
Right.
The numbness is gone, so that's good.
Yeah, you
The
gave
last
up
vestiges of. Yeah,
You
pretty
gave
much.
up the farm like this, at least, or whatever.
I don't
you
know
were
if that's
doing.
what was doing it or not. I think I banged my elbow or something, like kind of on the funny bone, and it was like literally, like numbness for 3 months, and it's like slowly regenerates, I guess, the nerve or something, nerve impingement, whatever it was. But no, I found that what I attributed, the fact that I couldn't miss, I attributed it to the fact that I reset my feel by changing all this stuff around and playing for a few hours. Like I was standing different, I was facing the board instead of, parallel like I normally do. I'm using different darts with a totally different knurl and a totally
it also
different
kind
grip.
of makes sense, though, because if you're normally throwing one way like this and you move over 5 inches, eventually 5 inches, and then you have to throw on that angle, but your arm slot is straighter.
Yeah.
And then you're wondering, and then all of a sudden, somehow at that release point,
It was weird.
You have to get that dart like an inch over to the right.
And I don't know how I ended up getting so far out of whack. And I think part of it was just the
lack of practice.
Well, that and I wasn't playing a lot.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, after last November, what did I played one tournament in February, and then I tried to play in March, and that didn't work out too well. So anyway, okay. The whole point to that dissertation was resetting your feel. Remember, Dan Naylor was talking about him being a field player.
Somebody said you've been way left for a long time, not just at the Aki.
Okay, political commentary. That's real nice. We keep politics out of the show pretty much.
Yeah.
Well,
not the dart zone.
Not the dart politics, but
the dart zone does not, apparently.
Was that a crack from the dart
It
zone?
was
it really? Well, isn't he a sweet man? No, but the idea here is that, if you're a field player, this is one way you can reset your feel. Right? It's the same theory that if you go into a dart store and you pick up a set of darts and all of a sudden you throw like 3 straight ton 80s. It's not the darts. It's the increased feel that you have just for that moment. Because the minute you get used to them, all of a sudden the ton 80s have gone away. Right? So it's kind of one of those deals.
I agree.
Right? Same, you try a putter in the store. Can't miss.
Yeah.
And then you take it on the course
No.
and it's like, oh, this thing should go right in the lake. All right, we're going to take our first break. We're going to be back with Stephen Wilcox. You listen to Dart Talk Mystery Mark Steve Penanciamas. Sam the Intern is here and a live studio audience, and we will be right back.
Dart Talk agrees to adhere to the Geneva Convention in treating fairly its prisoners in their war against lackluster darting administration and behaviour.
Okay, back for the second quarter of Dart Talk, brought to you by the Dart Zone.
Stay in the zone.
DartZone.com is an official Cosmo distributor. Also, many thanks, Windy City Fabricators, Redwood Darts, Sam the Intern, live studio audience. And where were we?
He did well that time.
He did.
Woo-hoo!
He faded it out and everything.
Yeah.
We'll blame him for something.
Again.
Okay, yeah. There was a question in the chat room of the list of entrants for the PDC Spectacular. That is on the NAPDA Facebook page.
Right.
So if you go on Facebook and type in North American Professional Dart Alliance Alphabet Soup, it's on there.
Do you have to
surprised
type in
that
the whole
more.
name, or can you put in any PDA?
If you just type in North, it should pop up. I don't know. It depends. It's one of those things where it depends on. They try to make this stuff so smart now. Like, I was texting with Gordon Dixon, and he Googled something, and he's like, "Oh, it's number 8 on my list." I Googled it, and it was on number 1 because of how we use stuff. The search engine optimization algorithms have changed now, so whatever. A little trivia for all you guys. Let's see if we can get
too in depth for me.
Yeah, I don't know. How are we going to get Sam to hear what this guy says? You want to let Sam sit in your seat?
If he wants to, sure.
You want to switch? Sure. Okay. Don't look so enthusiastic about it. These interns, I tell you, they're just not appreciative of anything. Okay, this is interesting. Yeah, okay. Now, you got to make sure you talk into the mic. We had a chat room girl that it took her a month, and she still didn't do it. So don't be like her.
Okay.
Don't be like a chat room person. Okay, here. Scooch over toward me a little bit. Okay. Got the headphone in? Because otherwise you won't hear anything. Okay. Be smarter than the headphones.
I'm trying.
Okay. So let's see. You want both ears in or just one? Well, I mean, stereo's better, but I don't know. Can you hear? Yeah. Okay. Talk into the mic.
Yes.
Okay. Do you want to move this so it's actually... Okay. Talk.
Hi. How are you?
Hi. It's a talk show. If you don't talk, it's dead air, and we don't really like that.
Understandably.
It's just a show. If you don't talk, it's just a show. So while we're waiting for a phone call, how old are you?
I am 14.
14 what?
14 years old.
You're 14 years old. Swipe what? Answer the phone. There we go. Hi, can you hear us?
Yep, no problem.
Okay, this is Steve. I've got Sam the Intern here. Who are we talking with?
It's Rocky right now.
Rocky Wilcox. How you doing, Rocky? Say hi to Sam the Intern.
Hey, Sam. Steven's with me, too. I got you on speakerphone.
Okay. Hi, Steven. How you doing?
Good, you?
Good. Sam the Intern's very nervous, but you might get a hello out of him any minute now.
Hello.
Wow. Could you even hear him?
Sam.
I could barely hear him, and I'm sitting next to him. Got to talk, project into the microphone.
Hello.
Fill the room with your knowledge. We're just beating on this intern. We're terrible. Are you ready for us, Stephen? We're in quite a state today.
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. Real quickly, Stephen, give us like the basics. You know, how old you are, where you live, how long you've been playing darts. Let's start with that.
Okay, well, I'm 16. I live in Park Hill, Ontario, Canada. And I've been playing for 8 years.
Okay, good. Where in Ontario?
Park Hill, just southwest of London, Ontario.
Just southwest of London, Ontario. Okay, awesome. 8 years. How'd you get started playing darts? Jump in anytime.
I will.
Well, my dad brought a card in for a dart exhibition.
I'm sorry.
He said that if I wanted to play John, I had to start playing.
Okay, you're cutting out a little bit there, Stephen. Can you say that again?
Well, my dad brought John Part in for a dart exhibition, and I asked if I could play him. He said if I wanted to start playing, I had to pick up a set of darts and start practicing. So that's pretty much how I got started.
Okay. Do you know who John Part is?
Have absolutely no idea.
Why don't you ask him who John Part is?
Who is
Converse.
Who is John Part?
He's a 3-time Canadian world dart champion.
He's a Canadian who's a 3-time world champion.
Okay, cool.
So, okay. Just relax. Okay. So, had you met John before?
Just at the exhibition.
Okay, nice. And so tell me, so 8 years, so you were 8 years old?
Roughly, yeah.
Okay, well, how does an 8-year-old start playing darts? Did you start playing at home, or were you playing like the Legion? What were you doing there?
I started playing at home, and then I joined the Youth Dart League when I think like a year later.
Okay, how many Utes were in the Dart League there?
I think there was about 12 that year.
I think there's about 12 the first year. We've got up to a maximum of 48 there a couple of years ago.
Okay, and then what's the age range there?
At the time, I think it was 8 to 18.
From 8, so you're 8 years old and you were playing 18-year-olds?
Yeah, it didn't go very well, but I played it.
I'm sorry, say that again. It didn't go very well, but what?
It didn't go very well, but I played them.
Okay, what was that like? Is that intimidating to play somebody who's like 10 years older than you? I would think that would be like brutal.
At the beginning, it was kind of a little bit nerve-wracking, but as I got to know them, it wasn't difficult anymore. It was just another game.
Okay. How much practicing? I mean, how much practicing can an 8-year-old do? I mean, most 8-year-olds that I know don't have much of an attention span. I mean, were you the kind of kid that was in front of the board hour after hour?
At that time, yes.
Wow.
Yeah, I couldn't have been able to do that. I would have been done in about 2 minutes.
In 2 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay. If you talk into the mic, everyone will hear you.
Okay.
So say that again.
Yeah, I would have been done in about 2 minutes. I have the attention span of a gnat.
Okay.
You got to learn some practice routines for yourself to keep yourself occupied and keep yourself playing all the time.
Okay, so what kind of practice routines did you use, Stephen?
Well, at the start, I just did like 3-1 games and 5-1 games against myself, and I did 100 darts at a certain number and see how many I could get. And then I learned the black belt, which is a jump hearts routine. It's around the world doubles, but if you miss one, you have to go back to double one.
Okay, run this by me again. So you throw one dart at each double, starting from 1 and going to the double bull, and if you miss one, you have to go start at double 1 and start over?
Yeah, you get actually 3 darts at each double, but as soon as you miss the double you're shooting at, you go back, you start at double 1 again. You do it until you've completed the game. I think our best is double 16.
Mine's double 13.
Double 13 for Steven, mine's double 16, but you can be there for hours and hours and hours doing that, but I tell you, you get really good at your doubles really quick.
Okay. Speaking of doubles, Stephen, you won an event in Stamford a couple of weekends ago, and you've now qualified for not only this year's Youth Winmaw Masters in England, but next year's as well?
Yeah. That was a WDF singles event in Stamford. Bring me a good lead over Connor Schleback from Texas.
Okay. So talk us through that. What was that event like?
The first game was a little, well, can't say a little, it was very rough. But after that, I was on my game that weekend and I was happy about it. Won the finals of that event 2-0 against Connor.
Okay. Well, what would you say is like the strongest part of your game these days?
My strongest part of the game is usually
High scores.
Yeah, high scores usually.
Okay,
But-
no coaching. No telling him his outs when he's at the line.
It's cheating.
Okay, so you're scoring well, and then what? The struggle usually comes in finishing? I've heard that one before.
Not usually. Sometimes I'll bat off games, but I usually can hit my doubles between the first and third dart.
Okay, so your game has no weaknesses?
It does. It's just the starting's usually a little bit rougher, but after in the middle of the game, it picks up more and it just advances from there.
Okay. And you said are you a junior in high school? Is it the same way we have it in America? You go to high school for 4 years, or are you guys on some other system?
Yeah, we go for 4 years, but I'm in grade 11, so I think we'd be classified as a senior. Yeah.
Oh no, in America you'd be a junior, and then grade 12 is a senior. But I don't know if it's different there or not. And then you're in grade what?
I'm in 9th grade.
So you'd be a freshman,
Correct.
which is better than being a sophomore. Do you know why?
No.
You don't know what a sophomore is.
No.
Okay, Steven, do you want to tell him what a sophomore is?
I don't even know what a sophomore is.
I thought you guys were in high school. Okay, maybe they didn't cover it that. You were out of school that day. So, Steven, are you like a celebrity in your local high school because you're, traipsing around the planet playing darts? I mean, that's got to give you something, make you a little bit different than the other kids, I would think.
Yeah, it's getting there. I'm getting a lot of attention from some of the people at school.
Okay, from the girls or the guys?
My secretaries.
Oh, the ones that, hey, by the way, I'm going to skip school next week too. You mean those secretaries?
Yep.
Okay. Sounds good.
Makes sense.
You're not the best color man in the business for nothing. Steven, hang on the line. We're gonna take a quick break, probably about a minute and a half. I'm gonna, yell at the intern, and then we're gonna be right back, okay? So stay with us.
Okay.
All right. You're listening to Dart Talk with Mystery Mark, Sam the Intern, Steve Poncielman, and Stephen Wilcox, and we will be right back.
You are now and forevermore warned that you consume this show at your own risk, and that Dart Talk cannot be brought to justice in any court or by any government, including and not restricted to the grand spaghetti monster of the Triple 20.
Okay, back for the second half of Dart Talk, brought to you by the Dart Zone.
Stay in the zone.
TheDartZone.com is an official Cosmo distributor. Also, many thanks, Windy City Fabricators and Redwood Darts. We have a youth darter, a Ute, Stephen Wilcox, hopefully still on the line. Are you still with us, Stephen?
Yep.
Oh, awesome. Okay. We were talking offline. I think, Sam, you got any questions for Stephen?
Yeah, so what do you do in your free time other than play darts?
I usually like to bike around or play video games and, well, go to work. And that's mainly my life.
So, what kind of job do you have?
I work at a local coffee shop, Tim Hortons.
Tim Hortons.
I'm
not a big fan of their coffee.
Hey, Steve, coffee's coffee.
No, coffee
It's liquid gold.
Yeah, these interns. There's an intern. Coffee is coffee. Oh, who hired him? Who hired
A
this
man
kid?
after my own heart.
Oh, jeez. Now I just want to crawl. Oh, all right. Let's just get back to darts. So you're working at Tim Hortons? Hello?
Sorry?
You're working at Tim Hortons?
Yes, I am.
Okay. So how many hours a week do you work?
I'm actually full-time right now, so I get ranging from 37 hours to 40 hours a week.
Oh, because it's summertime. But you're not full-time when you're in school.
Yeah. I just go right from school right to work, and I work till 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night.
So when do you practice?
Sometimes before school at like 7 o'clock in the morning, or I just don't get to that day.
Okay, that's what do you think of that, Sam? What kind of a schedule do you think that is?
Crazy. When do you do your homework?
Do they have homework in Canada?
Yes, we do. But I usually do that during lunch times or during spares and stuff.
Doing what and stuff? What do you say?
During spares.
What are those?
Where you don't have a class, it's like a filler thing.
Oh, like free periods or
yeah.
something. Oh, you call them
open block.
spares. Okay. Sorry about that. I'm not familiar with the teenage lingo
Yeah.
in Ontario. What was it, Park Hill?
Yes.
Okay. You'll have to forgive my ignorance on something like that. So a full-time job, a full-time student, I'm curious how you got so good at darts if you don't have time to play it.
I just recently got the job last January, so I've only had it for almost a year now, but not. So I got good before then.
Okay. So before you had the job, what was your practice routine like? How many hours roughly, like a week, were you practicing? How often were you going out to tournaments, stuff like that?
Usually in the wintertime, we were out at a tournament every weekend or every other weekend. And then practice-wise, I usually, if I wasn't hanging out with friends, or if I was hanging out with friends, I usually just play darts for a couple hours at home each night. And then for a week, usually around 10 hours a week.
Okay. Do your friends play darts too?
A lot of them do, yeah.
So then,
Mainly my closer friends do.
I'm sorry, I cut you off. Say that again.
My closer friends play darts with me.
Oh, your closer friends, like the cool kids play darts, and then what? The other guys, you just sort of like, let's play some Nintendo.
Pretty much, yes.
Yeah, that seems fair.
So is darts popular in Canada?
Yeah, it's quite popular, yeah.
Okay. I just didn't know. I was just curious. Look, I'm just an intern.
To give you a little
Take
bit
that,
of
Steve.
information, we have a National Darts Federation in Canada up here, same as you guys got your ADO and the ADA. Each province has their own youth leagues, their own provincial governing body. Ontario alone has almost 30 youth leagues with over 500 youth players just in Ontario alone. That tells you how popular it is. Our provincial championships, they have over 200 kids that have went through qualifiers to get there, and they only take the top two out of that whole weekend to make the national team. So that shows you how competitive it is in Ontario.
Wow. That's a lot of people. A lot of kids, specifically.
You have to be able to hear yourself in there to know that you're talking loud enough. If you don't hear yourself in your own ear, then you're not. See, if you're back here, Then you can't hear me, but see how it works? Okay, because I had the gain turned down. The mic is set for Mark, and he's kind of like, like that. So you just got to make a conscious effort to talk into the mic.
All right.
I'm sorry about that, Stephen. I'm upbraiding the intern because that's how I roll. You should see how I treat chalkers. It's terrible. So I'm kind of curious. Actually, our studio audience had a question about how can you afford to go to all these tournaments, week in and week out and year out, because he's thinking it's pretty expensive, and I don't think the Utes have much in the way of prize money.
Yeah, it's expensive, and a lot of sponsor help too.
Okay, well, you want to take this opportunity to thank your sponsors?
Cosmo Darts, Puma Darts, RVB Scoreboards, Ann Kramer Dartoid, and Global Darts.
Wow, now that is quite a list of sponsors. How'd you get all them? I mean, Ann Kramer, I can barely get a Facebook message from her, but that's awesome that they're helping you out.
Yeah.
What's
It's called promote, man.
I'm sorry, say that again?
It's called promoting, and it's an endless job. But you know what? If your kid's doing that well and he's actually accomplishing something other than being out on the streets, I will promote the hell out of it.
Okay, that must have been Rocky instead of Steven there.
I'm guessing. It didn't sound like Steven.
So what do you think about that, Sam the Intern? Are you impressed that somebody in high school can do something and attain a level of expertise at something like this, basically with some help from sponsors, but pretty much on his own?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
What do you find most inspiring about that?
The fact that he's able to balance the time between school and homework and working and then practicing for darts and then traveling to the championships.
Okay. You said you were playing. How often have you played in England, Stephen?
I've never actually played there yet, but in October will be my first time.
I assume you're looking forward to it. Have any of the local Ontario guys kind of given you a heads up about what to expect? I've heard the food is really, really good in England.
I hope so.
I think I used that joke before. They're known for bad food. Mystery Mark's getting bored over there. You do have a mic, though. Yeah, okay.
No, I'm good over here.
Has anybody told you kind of, what the atmosphere is like and the fact that, there's not practice boards? I mean, have you kind of mapped out what you're going to do when you get to England?
Not quite, but Miles Gallagher from the U.S., he was at the World Masters 1 year, and he gave me sort of like a rundown of what it was like.
Okay.
And it sounded like it was going to be a good time.
Okay. Preparation-wise, are you doing anything different? Are you going to set some time aside to practice before you go there? I mean, I know it's still a couple of months away, but I would think you're already getting excited about it.
Yeah, I've started practicing a lot more recently. Setting more time aside from hanging out with friends and stuff to actually hit the board and work on a lot more techniques and everything.
Cool. All right.
Understandably. I mean, if he's going to England, probably should. It would make sense to work real hard to get there.
Well, he's already qualified.
Right.
I mean, you want to take advantage of the opportunity, I would think, and get as much board time in as you could, I would think.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say.
Are you going to, or how long are you going to be in England when you go over there, Stephen?
We're going to be in England for 10 days.
Okay. Did you, kind of come up with some places to go? Like tourist places? I mean, aside from, the normal stuff?
Not quite. Dad will probably map that out when it gets closer, but not quite yet.
Is it in Hull again this year?
Yeah, it's in Hull.
Okay. I would recommend maybe taking a tour of the Lake District or maybe going over to Wales or something. But that's just me.
It all depends on time. The flight from Canada over there and back, I think he's got a couple days free time in there, but I think we'll spend that on the board instead of touring. He's there for business. Pleasure can be another time.
Boy, I like that attitude. Isn't that he's there for business? He'll go sightsee another time.
Oh, that's nice.
That's a nice attitude.
Absolutely.
What would you do? What would you do if you were in England? What would you want to do?
Theater.
Oh, like go see the Globe or something?
Yeah, go see a play or something. Cause
The Globe.
The Globe Theater, Shakespeare Theater.
Oh.
yeah, Shakespeare. You know.
You have to explain. Mark's not
Alas,
really
poor
an English
York, I knew
major.
him well. You know that guy.
That guy, that Shakespeare guy? Who's that?
You know that
Willie-
novelist dude.
Willie the Shake.
Bob, the dude who stands on the corner.
Well, Stephen, before we let you go, how about some words of wisdom to the other youth darters that may be listening to the podcast or watching the show? Anything, any words of wisdom you pass on to them?
Yeah. You just gotta keep practicing, and you just gotta always keep looking forward, even if you lose a match. Just don't get down on yourself. Just get back up, hit the board, and never lose sight of your dreams.
Sweet. I like that.
Yeah.
Got any more questions for Stephen?
Not really. Not that I can come up with.
Okay. Thanks, Stephen, for coming on the show. Thank you, Rocky. I will talk to you guys soon, but I wish you all the best of luck in all your future endeavors, as well as the Winmore Masters coming up in October.
Thank you.
Okay. That was Stephen Wilcox, and we will be back in a minute. You're listening to Dart Talk Mystery Mark, Sam the Intern, Steve Ponzione. We'll be right back.
Hi.
The views and opinions expressed on Dart Talk are those of the hosts. They in no way should be misrepresented, misinterpreted, or made to claim that the universe is against you, your family, your city, or the darting community at large.
Okay, back for the fourth quarter at Dart Talk, brought to you by the Dart Zone.
Stay in the zone.
The DartZone.com is an official Cosmo distributor, sponsor of the Players Challenge Series, and fine all-around human being. I guess you can't get in the chat again? I'm going to have to do something. We're going to have to replace
I'm
the
having a little
chat
trouble
program.
with that.
It's every week now.
I'd like to blame it on Sam the Intern, but I really can't because I have
Yes,
no
you
idea what's
can.
going
He's
on.
sitting right there. You bring in an intern and they break the chat.
Yeah, I don't.
Oh,
I don't know.
my
I thought he
gosh.
did a great job. He talks about as much as I do.
Yeah. Well, I'm pretty sure it was nerve-wracking, and it might have been nerve-wracking for Steven. So we thank Steven Wilcox and Rocky Wilcox for coming on the show. Impressive young man, I thought. What do you think, sitting over there in the peanut gallery
Well, since
there?
I heard just you guys talking, but
yeah.
actually, from what I heard, yeah, it sounds really, really impressive. I mean, he's got a lot of things to juggle and still be really good at darts. And
Well, it's going to be
more power to
interesting. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I mean, Sean Narain's been doing really well. And he's coming out of the Canadian youth system. I mean, it's not as extensive, and it doesn't appear to be as organized. Well, that's probably wrong. It doesn't seem to have the same structure as like the PDC Unicorn Youth kind of thing that's going, and some of the players that have come out of there in the last couple of years. But, to have 200 or 300 kids, maybe I shouldn't say kids, Utes playing in the provincials,
200 Utes.
where only 2 qualify. I mean, talk about a bloodbath.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
it's
got to
like
be
Q school in golf.
Yeah,
It's
but only 2 spots. I mean, Q School's got quite a few more, and the Q School with the PDCs probably year in, and it's probably going to get tougher and tougher every year to get those tour cards. So I know it's going to be kind of interesting. We'll be following his progress. I hope he does well, and whoever else goes over there. Did you kill your computer?
I restarted.
Why?
Because
Did Sam the Intern break your laptop?
No, I
too?
wasn't getting on the chat. What's the next option when nothing else is working? F5's
well,
not working.
Yeah, well, I think it's the chat. We're going to have to look at that chat program. Just a reminder, everybody.
It's just another option I was trying. I didn't expect you to bring it up.
Right. You can always email us with questions, comments, compliments, criticism.
Negativity.
Send all that negativity to darttalk@gmail.com.
Send it all to Sam the Intern.
You can always get the audio podcasts on the audio archive at darttalk.us. The video archive is there as well, and you can also get the podcast on iTunes, on Stitcher.com, on TuneIn.com. I wanted to talk. We're not going to have like a lot of time here, and just a reminder, we're going to do the whole throw like a girl thing next week. Maybe that's what blew up the chat. I hope there weren't like 100 people in there trying to chat, because that would be a drag.
What are the chances that was going to happen?
Slim and none. I don't remember even what our record is for live viewers. It was like 60
It wasn't
or something.
100.
But I don't know. We're going to have to get a more robust chat program up on the website.
Oh, we
Get
got-
right on that, Sam.
Well, Sam's going to get all his friends.
Get on
They'll
what?
They'll be all. You guys will all be in the chat next week, right? Live from Virginia. You guys all be on your computers and chatting with us on our next show.
Yeah, sure. Go for it.
We'll go with that. Well, no, I mean, it's kind of funny. There's been a lot of people bashing, and I say bashing, and I don't really mean true bashing, but there's been a lot of talk among the, I guess we have our own chattering class when it comes to darts. The people that, take the time to, post all these comments and everything in forums and chat rooms and whatnot, which, to my mind, we should be encouraging. I mean, if what we need are fans, the basis of fandom is probably social media. So I'm not one of those people that just dismisses social media as being like, oh, that's just something that somebody posted. I mean, I don't look at it that way. And I did want to go on a rant, but I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, we just don't have that much.
Yeah, but a lot of the criticism that comes from the ADO, to my mind, could all be solved or could have been solved 30 years ago. I think when you look at an organization, and I don't know what the organization, like the Canadian Dart Federation, I don't know how theirs operates. But the way the ADO is structured is sort of like a fiefdom where whoever started it wanted to make sure that no one could ever get rid of them. And if you're going to start an organization with that in mind, I think
Highlander?
There could be only one. Yeah, well, I mean, it's kind of weird. I mean, if you're going to start an organization and you want the organization to be representative and you want the organization to be nimble and you want the organization to be able to respond to things as they come up in an effective manner, the one thing you don't do is build a bureaucracy. And then the next thing you don't do is build another bureaucracy where you guys can just back and forth blame each other's bureaucracy for problems. I mean, that
sounds
doesn't
like
seem
government.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? I'm not sure darts needs governing.
Right.
It could use some leadership, and it could definitely use an infusion of cash, right? But if you were going to come up with a structure to govern darts in America, let's just leave Canada out of it. No offense to Canadians. I mean, they've got their own system, and I'm not
just fine.
Well, yeah, I mean, darts thrives over there,
Yeah.
but it's also a different culture, and they have different. They have like the Legion and stuff where they have the clubs to play in, so it's not always in bars. Like they're not playing in bars like that's all you get in America, right? To my mind, what kind of structure would you have?
Oh, we talked about this years ago.
Yeah, but we never really spelled it out. That's why I
was
was kind of thinking now might be a good time to spell it out, because the ADOs, like, people in the ADO leadership, and there's been some changes in that this year, are saying we're working on stuff. We've got all these legacy problems to solve, and give us time, and la-di-da-di-da, and it's like, okay, fine. Right? I mean, we'll see what we see. We'll see what happens down the road. They've made some changes in the last couple of years, and some of them have been positive, but how do you lead, if you look at the way soft tip manufacturing companies operate, where there's a profit model, right? Where, you have individual operators who have their machines here, there, and the other. I mean, they have a business model that works, right? The players put in quarters, and they're given back enough that they want to keep playing.
Yeah.
Right? That's as simple as I can put it, right? On the steel tip side, though...
But not that you're for that model.
Well, look, I mean, I don't think that you can begrudge anybody a profit if it's earned, right? I also don't think that you should blindly watch people
Just
get
let
ripped
'em earn it.
off.
Right.
Well, it's like the bullshooter where they let a friend of mine, Dave Cameron, walked in as an amateur and won everything. He was like the number one ranked player in Canada. If anybody bothered to look, Arachnid didn't bother to look. Okay, fine. Dave played good. He won. No problem. It's not Dave's fault that he went in there and won, and that Arachnid was kind of dropped the ball as far as like putting him in with the other pros, right? However, as a customer, I'd be like, you ripped me off. I want all my entry fees back, and I want every quarter I put in this event back. Did anybody do that? There's the business model. There's a working business model. If you have complaints, too bad. Like what's the commercial where the computers like disconnect you or send you to a payphone or something when you have questions? I think it was like a credit report kind of thing. No, but what would the ideal structure be because if you had a governing body, it wouldn't really be a for-profit corporation, right? The way the ADO if you were going to replace the ADO with something, right? We have all these independent, individual tournaments that are basically doing their own thing. What would the organization that you replace the ADO with, what would they be providing? Right?
Well, I think that's the main question. We're trying to find somebody that would actually figure that out.
Well, I mean, it's pretty simple what should be provided. I mean, I'm so sick of people complaining about the ADO that I'm just sort of like, look, either they're relevant or they're not.
But
if
you
they're
also
irrelevant, what are you complaining
you need
about?
an infusion of money into it, though.
Well,
like you said earlier, I mean, because otherwise, I mean, we're trying to get away from the players paying for everything in order to get their money back or, win money.
Okay, so if you wanted to come up with an organization that was capable of promoting the sport to the point where you could attract sponsor dollars, is that what you're talking about now? Okay, that's a completely separate animal. If you wanted to do something like that, you would have to come up with an organization, and I'll call it an organization instead of a company, but it could very well be a for-profit company that says, here's what we're going to do. I mean, if you look at what works, you have the PDC, right?
Sure.
That's a for-profit corporation that is like selling tickets, right? Getting their stuff on television, right? So selling airtime,
But isn't that
whatever.
what everybody's modeling it after?
The ADO despises the PDC. They run the other way. The BDO doesn't do.
Every American Darts is trying to be that. They're trying to
American Darts
become
is
that.
like not trying to
Or
be
somebody
anything.
wants to.
Well, I mean, there's been talk of a pro tour. And I was kind of like, we started the Players Challenge series, and I was talking to somebody about it. And I'm like, we could easily turn this into a pro tour. All you would have to do is, schedule the event on Friday, and the way to structure it would be like, well, here's what you do. All the players put in like, $25 to play the event, and you give the tournament 1/3. You pay out 1/3 to the players, and then the third would go into the end of the year prize money. You could do it that way, where the tournaments are guaranteed that if they run an event, they will make money, which I don't think that they're guaranteed to make money in any event they run, right? Part of the value, I think, back in the day of the ADO was somehow if you ran a tournament and you said you were going to pay X amount of dollars and you didn't, then, the ADO wouldn't let you run another tournament or something. I mean, I don't know what they could really do, but, it gave players some sort of confidence that, what was on the flyer was going to happen.
Yeah.
Right? Well, I mean, it's really easy to just put in, based on participation and leave it at that.
And that's it, yeah.
Well,
the fine print?
I mean, no. I mean, that's an honest approach if you're going to say that. The problem is if you're a player and you want to go travel somewhere and you're looking at the prize money and you see that little based on participation, well, then what are they really paying? Well, I don't know. Well, then maybe I shouldn't go. What if not enough people go? I'm going to go all this way and
but how do you get over that? How do you guarantee it that?
Well,
because if you're not based on participation, you have to guarantee it some other way.
And that's where a lot of the independent tournaments, we'll call them on the Diddle Tour, they all do that, and it's the leagues that are on the hook if they don't get the players, right? Pick any tournament like the Bedbug Open or pick, whatever. I mean, pick any tournament. Pick Cleveland, for example. Cleveland puts out a flyer, says this is what we're going to pay, and if no one shows up, they end up paying it, and it's coming out of the league kitty, right? And what are you going to do? I mean, they've done that pretty much at every tournament I've ever been to. I don't recall anybody ever shorting anybody based on participation, and I've seen some tournaments take a real bath. I was at a tournament, Kentucky, where, in the men's doubles, we were in the money before we even started. That's a league losing money on that event.
Right.
So the people putting together the tournaments have to run the numbers and figure out some way that, it's going to work out where, they're not going to go broke. That's what happened in Windy City. Like the Windy City Open, they're losing like $6,000 running this tournament, and eventually the league was like, well, we can't afford it.
You didn't have enough participation.
Well, what are you doing it anyway for?
Right.
I mean, if your local players don't come out to your own tournament, why are you having a tournament? Unless it's a fundraiser, right? So You know, a lot of these people with the, you know, high principled, well, the growth of American darts and la-di-da-di-da, well, okay, that's great, but, you know, who's coming? And how do you get them to come? Right? What organization can you develop that will draw people in and draw the kinds of people you want in? Like if you want to start a pro tour, you have to get a certain kind of player to come.
Right, but
and a high
isn't one of the
percentage
models
them.
is getting rid of the league darts and getting more of a, you know, a long format tournament situation going?
Well, we were doing that last year. Like we had all the PDC events, which were long format 501, and you had the New World Dart Series events, which were round robin.
Right.
And then Sunday was long format knockout, which I still think is the best tournament format. I think and
it was working.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to be honest, and I'm not going to reiterate all this stuff, but when it comes to a structure of an organization, you know, defined verticals, right? Who's doing what? Who's doing this? Who's doing this? Right off the bat. And then you have to have deliverables. See, that's the thing that kills me about organizations like the ADO, and they're not the only ones. I mean, they don't answer to anybody.
Right.
You know, where is this by this date?
Mm-hmm.
There's nobody saying that. Right? Nobody has a deadline. Like, you know, okay, you know, we're not the greatest show in the history of the show, but,
well, yeah,
you know,
but
we're on at 8 o'clock every
that's
Wednesday.
Because nobody owns it and is sitting there saying, well, if you don't do this, then...
I know, but we don't have to start at 8. If we wanted to, we could start at 8:22.
Sure.
Right? But we try to start at 8 because, you know, then we can say that we're on at 8. Not we're on around 8 and stop by Wednesday night and see if we're on kind of thing. I mean, you have to hit your marks. Right? I mean, the beauty of Darts Live is that, you know, they do things in a timely manner. Admittedly, their feed from China was horrendous, and I could barely watch. And, you know, I had it on for a while. I watched the Creature play Singing in the Rain. And Singing in the Rain had a match, like a top 16 match, was I think the first match I saw. And then I saw some semifinals. He killed Gunner.
Who?
Sean Narain.
Oh,
beat him like a drum. It was a beatdown, too. I've never seen, you know, Gunner is Lawrence Illigan. I've never seen the guy look so discouraged halfway through a leg. He started chucking. I was never seen that before in a semifinal. I mean, Sean was on it. Sean was all over it. Sean was playing really good. The final, everything went with the throw. You know, you lose the diddle in the last leg, and you got to break the guys throwing cricket, and, you know, guys throwing 9 counts. Good luck with that.
Right.
You know, so as far as an organization goes, that's how I judge how effective an organization is. I mean, Darts Live, their website's updated. Admittedly, you know, it's got design flaws, okay, and it's hard to find stuff. But, you know, the stuff's on time. The results are up there. You know, timely manner. What more do you want? Not like the Players Challenge Series took like 3 weeks for me to get something up. But, you know, I'm a one-man band. I don't have staff. Get that stuff up on time.
We got
Sam.
a new intern.
Yeah, that'll happen.
Well, no, not the Players Challenge Series. It was more like what was the tournament that was 4 years?
They haven't updated
the
America's Cup.
They
haven't updated their website in 8 years.
2008.
Yeah. It's like, you're calling this a tournament? Are you kidding me? And
that's an untimely manner.
So you need to have the ideal dart organization, right? Would have somebody in charge of tournaments, like actually running the tournament.
Mm-hmm.
So you need like a tournament director type, whatever the title is, doesn't really matter, right? You need to have like somebody in charge of like the books, right? Accounts receivable, accounts payable. You need some sort of financial person, whatever, bookkeeper, whatever you call them, right? You need to have somebody who's marketing, whose expertise is marketing. You need to have somebody who's and you know, you have to have a media person.
You also need a financial backer to pay all these people.
Well, that's the beauty of like people working for free.
Right.
Right. You try to get these organizations and you cobble it together with whoever's got free time, and it's like, how is that going to work? You have to identify what jobs need to be done and then find people to fill them. And if you can't find people to fill them, then you don't just throw a body in there and hope it works out. Right? I mean, if you can't find the people to do the job, you don't have an organization and you should fold. Right? If your financial officer can't keep the books, you should fold your organization. Just fold it and be done with it because you can't survive. Right? This notion somehow that you could just, it'll work out. It's all going to work out. We're going to work on it. It's like laughable. Right? So that's my one advice. If you're starting a new organization, is like literally somebody has to sit down and say, these are the responsibilities, and you're accountable to someone. See, like this show, who am I accountable to? I'm accountable to myself and to you, right? In a sense, well, if I irritate you too much, you might quit. Right. But outside of that, I mean, we're just answerable to ourselves.
Yeah.
And, we have a sponsor, and, he's always been happy. Well, he's never said he was unhappy. No, I don't want to put words in his mouth, but... Well, yeah, but I mean, we're just sort of like, just our little show. But you want to have an organization. I mean, this is how a well-run organization is done. Even from that
standpoint, though, that our sponsor still has a little bit of say,
Yeah, but you know what? Editorially, he never has.
No,
editorially, he's never said anything about anything we've said. And we've said ridiculous stuff on this show.
If we never mention him, eventually he'd be like, okay.
Oh, well, but that's actually one of our deliverables, right? Is, we provide the plugs and, we do this and we do that. That's one of the things that we do. Right. It's required. Well, if you're starting a new organization, what's actually required and who's setting the requirements? Right? Well, good question, right? So that's something.
Have they come up with something when they've decided to come up with this organization? Yeah. Do they have a list of requirements and who's accountable for these requirements?
Well, yeah, I mean, and that's the thing, that if you don't get this stuff done early, like this is the foundation of your organization. If you get this stuff wrong, how are you going to grow? It's going to collapse on itself. That's, I think, the biggest problem with the way the ADO is structured, is the ADO was structured for one person to be in charge, and then, it's like having a dictator. If you have a good dictator, maybe people are happy. If you have a bad dictator, then people want a revolution, right? I mean, the history of the world is full of tyrants, right? Mm-hmm. Have you seen that show, Tyrant?
I have not.
You should check it out. It's not bad.
All right. I'll look into that.
So how many people are we talking about with an ideal organization here?
At least 5 to begin with.
Yeah. 5 qualified people who will work for free.
Right.
And under what
Good
direction?
Luck with that.
Under what direction do you have?
Well,
see, I mean, that's the beauty of the PDC, is the one guy that was in charge, and he admitted it in some magazine article. He's like, oh, I'm a benevolent despot. Did he say despot or dictator? Whatever. What I say goes. This is how we're doing it, and it's been wildly successful because he is so good at what he does, right? I don't see anybody on the horizon like that we have.
Right.
We have people that are good at this and people that are good at that, but I don't see anybody with the overall kind of, top leader guy that you could have. And,
for free?
For free. And for all the people that, bash the ADO and criticize the ADO and that, I mean, the guy that was in charge of it for a long time was like a businessman who understood business and dealt with all these different organizations and stuff and managed not to have everybody hate him.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, he was at least somewhat successful.
That's a good CEO.
Well, I don't know about good, but, he was what he was, and the organization was what it was. I just, if you've been doing something for 17 years and nothing's ever changed, I don't think you're very good organization. And then you blame the top, right? If the organization can't keep up and the organization isn't responsive, then you blame the top, right? Because that's where everything is supposed to be, they're supposed to be telling their people to do stuff, right? If the top is asleep at the wheel and then all the lieutenants are just doing whatever, I mean, how's that supposed to work? right? So,
yeah, but on the other hand, you were saying earlier, it says, well, if you can't get these guys to do what you want to do, then you just fold. So, I mean,
because you don't have an organization.
okay, but if the ADO just wants to sit there and say, okay, we can't get these guys to do anything, we're just going to fold, and then there's no darts whatsoever.
Well, I don't. What do you mean no darts whatsoever? The darts everything would stay the same. If the ADO folded tomorrow, you'd still
You
have the
think?
same tournament. Yeah, absolutely. There's not one tournament in America
Okay, but-
that would fold if the ADO was gone. They would just be like, hey, guess what? No sanctioning fees this year. You think anybody would not go to the Port City Open or the Cleveland Classic or Music
what-
City
if
or
that-
Myrtle
in that
Beach if there was
aspect,
no ADO? Nobody cares
Yeah,
about
but in
that.
that aspect, then everything that's going on right now in American darts is going nowhere.
Well,
Because there's no
It's-
organization to grow the sport because the ADO is not doing it, and everything's going to go on.
well,
just
that's
the
not
exact
entirely
same way that it's
well.
going on anyway without them. So, in what aspect is anything going to change for the better, whether they're there or not? Because
Well-
all your tournaments are just going to be the same.
Yeah, well, they're the same now.
That's what I'm saying. So,
So then, what do you need the ADO for?
so what do we need any of these tournaments for? Because the
Well, the
sport-
tournaments are there to be tournaments.
but the sport's not going to grow.
well,
And there's no organization out there, and there's no organization that could come close.
well, you talk about growing the sport. I mean, Soft Tip has their people coming in playing, right? The people that play in leagues come out and play. Like, so from a grassroots level, I don't think darts is in that bad shape as some people like make
you
it
just
sound.
need an organization with at least 6 people to do it for free.
Well, no. I mean, you're talking about if you want to enlarge it and make it more than what it is now.
Right.
Then you need an organization, and you're going to have to get 5 or 6 really qualified people to donate enough time to get
To
it
do it.
going.
Right.
Yeah, and you're asking about the ADO. Well, what difference does it make? The only problem that I really have with the ADO is if the ADO's not functioning well, they're in the way.
Yes.
Right,
I
the
can understand
analogy
that.
of like the
Yes.
old building downtown,
Right.
where you're not going to build a whole new thing around it. You got to tear that thing down. It's on a prime corner, right? That's the problem with the ADO, and guys are trying to fix it. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But all the talk of a pro tour comes from the people that are saying, "Well, look, in order to grow darts, you need to, grow it to." You need to have something that people can aspire to, right? Like how many people are playing darts because of what they see on a PDC event that's televised or streamed or whatever. I want to be that guy. I want to be that good.
Right, exactly.
And people that are working at it. This kid in Canada, right, starts playing at 8 years old, and he's practicing in high school. I mean, Sam the Intern kind of spaced. Do you got a girlfriend? Right? Because I'm pretty sure you got no time for her.
Right.
Unless she, happens to like watching people play darts. I mean, I don't know. I thought that was a normal question, but I totally lost my train of thought there. Hey, how you doing? Waving to the studio audience. Hey, how you doing, Sam the Intern? What was I talking about? I totally spaced.
growing the sport of darts and moving on, getting rid of the ADO and you gotta get 6 qualified people to do something to move on. And
Okay. No, we're talking about. There's a question about whether or not a pro tour would help grow the sport, right?
yeah,
Like my idea with the Players Challenge Series was if you featured these matches at these individual tournaments, it would give people a reason to come and watch. See, I mean, it's kind of weird. Like here in Chicago. It's no big deal to see. Well, it used to be you could watch me play 4 nights a week. So where's the novelty in that, right? Now, because I don't play the local draws and I don't play league anymore or something, I mean, nobody sees me throw.
mm-hmm.
And it's like, well, you want to come see me throw? Well, you got to go across town because this is the only place I play. Well, obviously, there's a line of people that are doing that. I'm just saying that, the exposure, if you're going to start talking about a pro tour, to my mind, it's like, well, the first thing the pros have to do is make it hard for people to see them. Right? If I can see Darren Young play any Friday night, why would I pay a dime to go see him play on Saturday? Right?
Well,
I mean,
but
that
it seems to me
a
that
pro tour means people are paying to come and see you play. That's what a pro tour is. A pro tour is not a bunch of pros playing each other. That's not a pro tour.
right.
A pro tour is putting on something that people want to come and watch.
Mm-hmm.
The problem, geographically is like you're going to have to put it in a place where there are locals that will come out and watch. Right? How many places are like that are, not insanely expensive, right?
Right.
I mean, you could have it in the middle of Midtown.
Other than that, you have it somewhat streamed or televised, but you black it out in the area that you're playing because those people, if they have to come out to see it.
You can't even do that anymore because, that's going to get all the blackout rules are going to go.
Mhm.
Like all the ones that, with the NFL and stuff, those are all going to, in court, within 3 years, those are all gone. Because they're archaic and they can never really justify it, as far as the blackout rules go. But yes, streaming. I mean, you want to see if we had an American Pro Tour and they were going to stream it, people should pay for it.
Yes.
People pay, I don't know, $100 a year for a PDC subscription. $100 a year, that's nothing. That's 2 months of cable. That's 1 month of cable.
Yeah.
Right?
It's less than a month of cable and internet combined.
I mean, and if it's not worth it to you, then you don't get to watch it.
Mhm.
Fine. I mean, it's not like we're doing anything no one else does in a pro sport. I mean, how much does it cost to go see the White Sox play? More than they're worth maybe this year, but some years it's different.
You have to say the White Sox. You can't say the Cubs.
Well, because I was, talking on your level.
Yes.
You're a White Sox fan.
They're the same.
Yeah, they're not the same.
What?
We have a cool ballpark. You're on the south
Oh,
side.
my God, your ballpark's a pit.
It is not a pit. It's
Oh,
the friendly
my
confines. People
God.
love going to, see the Ivy. People love going to Cub games. Sox games. Are you
Ballpark
kidding me?
Is a pit.
Oh, my God. Going to a Sox
Just
game.
because it's a historic national landmark.
You
it's
play in a
pit.
stadium that is designed exactly like a toilet. Even got the same colors.
I don't play
like the little
in that stadium.
Well, your team does.
Okay,
I mean, I'm just saying.
I get to actually watch them play in a toilet better than you get to watch the toilet that you're putting out there.
Well, no. If Sox
you're-
Park is
you're
a
actually-
toilet,
you're actually-
then Wrigley Field is a toilet that
actually-
hasn't been cleaned.
You're actually in a toilet.
Yeah. Okay. Whatever.
I'm just watching.
It was
from
pretty
the outside.
soggy. Pretty
I'm just
soggy last night.
watching from the tank.
Okay, we gotta cut this show. But no, organizationally,
Yeah.
you need to come up with a structure that is, can bring new people in, and as opposed to the edifice that is the ADO, where it's like somebody's in there and now you can't get rid of them, right? Where the only people that vote on them are the people that are kind of already in. Like the board of directors can only elect somebody on the board of directors is like insane. Who comes up with this except somebody that wants
Except
to like
the board of directors.
Yeah, right. So, I mean, you have to have, and this was like my criticism on some other organization where I was like, yeah, okay, where's the election? Right?
Yeah.
Where's the,
How did these guys become in power?
yeah. I called it. I called dibs
Yeah.
on ruling American darts. I called it first, so I get to do it.
And
I mean,
I'm over here going,
are you
nuts.
kidding me? Are you kidding me? I mean, and
It's like calling shotgun.
Look, I mean, we're not about being destructive, but we call it like we see them, and we call a spade a spade. And what I'm saying is, if you want to have an organization, this is the model that you want to look at. We can't be the PDC because we don't have the financial
be.
backing.
Impossible. Right.
So since you don't have the money, you need to get the buy-in from all the players. That's going to take some talented marketing.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And it's not a matter of posting something on Facebook. That isn't
and
enough.
Assuming everybody's going to say I'm in.
Right. And you're going to have to kind of, and let me tell you, dealing with the players is not always a joy. Ask anybody who's run a league. Players can be a nuisance. So you're going to need to have some sort of, what does the PGA have? Don't they have some sort of like player person that deals with player issues? You'd probably need somebody like that, a separate person.
Yeah.
In your organization just to deal with player issues, right? Like travel coordination.
Customer relations.
Well, but who are the customers? Yeah, I mean, you're right.
The players.
Wow, Sam the Intern chimed in.
Mm-hmm.
How about that? Good
Well,
for you, man.
My
Way to chime.
our studio audience looks like it might have the answer to what the PGA was.
What the PGA had, you mean?
Yeah.
Like a player liaison or something. Yeah, he's shaking his head like he has no idea. Don't drag him into this. You're on your own, man. Actually, we had a chat room girl, and she had a little bell, and she would ring the bell when she wanted to talk. But, see, you didn't need the bell.
Ding, ding, ding.
There you go.
Yeah. Right. So, I mean, I don't know. You'd have to sit down and really, define all these duties and then see if there's anyone around that could do them. I could think of a few people that are definitely qualified to do certain things.
Are they more concerned about getting this whole thing started, or are they more concerned about getting, like you said, sit down and get all your jobs defined, and then once you got a person in each one of those situations that you need,
then you're ready to go.
Then you move on and go, okay, now we've got everybody, and you have your meeting and go, okay, now how do we structure what we want to do?
Well, see, that's where you need, like, a couple of people in the back room being like, okay, here's how we're going to do it. These are the jobs we need to fill. Who can fill them?
Right.
I mean, you can't leave that open to committee, or you're going to end up with, like, oh my gosh, I can't even imagine what you would end up with. And when I say a strong,
you're going to end up with a nightmare of a first. The
you're
going to
have to
find is going to be a nightmare.
You're going to have to find a strong leader that can work with everyone else and isn't abrasive, gets everyone to buy into their concepts. Right, and is willing to listen and willing to leave. Mm-hmm. It doesn't do any good to have a strong leader that is his agenda or her agenda is to basically stay there forever. I mean, imagine what decisions are going to come from that. That you don't need. That was the ADO's downfall, if the ADO has fallen, is the fact that they entrenched themselves, and that was their main goal in life. Same with the WDF. If you read their bylaws, the first thing in paragraphs 1 and 2 is like, we are the be-all, end-all of darts, and we're staying here forever, and, it's our sandbox. Mm-hmm. That's not how you run a successful organization. Commercial organizations are real simple. They're bottom line, right? CEO, hey, we've had 8 straight losing quarters. I think we can find somebody else to do it better.
Yeah.
You don't stay there 16 years, and what's 16 times 4? 48. 48 consecutive losing quarters, and I'm still here.
Actually, it's 64.
Okay, whatever. I'm tired. We need to end this show. I've been talking for this is the longest show we've had in a long time. Anyway, thanks everybody for listening, and we apologize for the length. Sam the Intern screwed everything up.
No, he was fine.
Yeah, he was good. Thank you, Sam.
Hopefully he'll be back next week.
Thanks for coming on, and you're welcome back anytime. We will be back next Wednesday, 8 o'clock Central, 9 Eastern. We'll have Callie West, and we're going to talk about all these women issues that we ducked this week.
And that show will be about a half hour long.
Right. Email darttalk@gmail.com if you have any questions or comments. We also have a Facebook page. Check out the website, darttalk.us. All the old shows are up there, and there's some other stuff. I think, did I update the poll? There might be a new poll up there. I don't even remember.
I don't think so.
No? Did I not? Really?
No.
That's kind of sad. I should have. Maybe we'll put a new poll up this week. We'll see if we're ambitious. Anyway, thanks everybody again, and we will Dart Talk to you next week. Everybody take care. Say bye, Sam the Intern. Say, pick it up. Say, talk into it.
Bye.
Okay. Good night.